News International reporter Matt Bodner and USA Today Washington bureau chief Susan Page. Matt, what can you tell us about these attacks overnight, coming just hours after President Trump said he believed he had struck a deal with Russia?
Well, the first thing I would say, Anna, is that this is not the first time that Russia's conducted a devastating strike on civilian areas while paying lip service to the peace process. This latest attack was a mixed strike using drones and missiles. It killed at least 13 people in Kyiv. It also injured more than 70. It's also worth mentioning here that 2 weeks ago, Russia launched a ballistic missile salvo against the Ukrainian city of Sumy. Took place on Palm Sunday, and it killed 35 people and injured 129. Among them were children. But going back to this latest strike, it of course comes after senior U.S. officials involved in the negotiation efforts, that would be Marco Rubio, and Steve Witkoff, skipped high-level meetings here in London yesterday. And Trump publicly railed against Zelensky for being the obstacle, as Trump sees it, to ending this war. And so it is noteworthy that last night's attack provoked a direct rebuke against Vladimir Putin by President Trump on Truth Social. And he said he's not happy with these Russian strikes on Kyiv. They're not necessary. And as you said, Vladimir, stop. Anna? And
so, Matt, just coming back to what you mentioned, how the president was slamming Volodymyr Zelensky yesterday, accusing him of harming the peace talks over his refusal to surrender Crimea, as U.S. officials had proposed. The conditions of what the U.S. is proposing in these peace talks said to be very favorable for Russia. What more can you tell us about the U.S. demands?
I'm going to jump in real quick here. Putin thinks Trump is a joke. Come on. Anyone with ears and eyes has to admit this. He said something about agreement. Trump and his faulty fake laughable administration say something about they have some kind of agreement, and Putin just instantly does attacks every time. It's like the second or third time. He's making a mockery of him. Come on. Let's get back into it.
U.S. demands.
Well, we've been hearing that the major impasse in the negotiations now concerns this idea of recognizing Russia's annexation of Crimea. And I think it's been clear to the Ukrainians for some time now that they're not going to be getting occupied territories back as part of this specific process. Zelensky himself has said this several times since Trump took office, that they're really looking towards diplomacy to reclaim the occupied territories. That all said, recognizing Crimea as Russian territory, that is a bitter pill to swallow, not just for Zelensky, but for much of the Ukrainian public. That 2014 annexation of Crimea, it's really one of the key symbols of Russia's efforts to subjugate Ukraine. And the big war, as Ukrainians call the events of the last 3 years, has only solidified these attitudes.
Susan, it is hard to imagine these terms even being an option for Ukraine and for Zelensky. What do you make of how the Trump administration is approaching this, essentially giving this ultimatum, take the deal or the U.S. is out?
You know, I think this course was set on Election Day in November. Donald Trump has been a big skeptic, a critic of the U.S. role in the war in Ukraine. He has taken a famously friendlier attitude toward Vladimir Putin and a very critical one toward Zelensky. And he also has this America First foreign policy that does not embrace the idea of the United States engaging in military action to help other countries. And so I think it is distressing to Ukraine and to those who want the U.S. to continue to play a big role in things like the Western Alliance in Europe. But this is no surprise. And of course, Anna, the clock is ticking. President Trump said he could settle this war on day one. That hasn't happened. If he doesn't settle it on some kind of terms in his first 100 days, it seems likely that the White House will do what they call move on.
Yeah, President Trump has said multiple times now that Zelensky has no cards to play. But the Wall Street Journal editorial board argues that he does have one ace, writing, the president won't be able to abandon Ukraine without paying a heavy political price. And they quote a historian who recently said, Americans hate war, but they hate losing a war even more. Susan, do you
be honest with yourselves? Anyone with eyes and ears, like I said before, can see Trump is a puppet. He's Putin's puppet. He's a joke. Putin's laughing at him. Day one. More day one failures. He's going to solve these problems day one. The war's going to be over. None of that's happened. Everything's worse. In every way. Not even Israelis are paying attention to him anymore. Are you serious, man? He's constantly attacking Zelensky. Well, Putin's making a fool of him. Disregarding everything he says. Even though he puts everything that Putin wants in these, what they really are, surrender plans for Ukraine and Zelensky to surrender. That's what they are, and just to give up everything. Just totally catering to Putin. And you guys on the right, oh, he's so strong. He's a strong leader. He's stupid. He's a great businessman. Every business has failed. Well, what are you talking about? The only good business he has a great business of getting you fools to send him money, even though he's supposedly a billionaire. And come on, man. This guy's a joke. Putin knows he's a joke. That's why he has him where he has him. Doing everything he wants. Oh, man. This is not good. It's not good, people. And you can keep putting your hand in the sand, I guess, until it just totally wipes us out and we're wearing Russian clothes or something, and obeying Russian laws or whatever horror is to come of us. You people really need to wake up and stop denying what's right in front of your eyes. That's really all I have for you today. Thanks for watching.